Welcome to the Social Engineer Podcast, the Human Element Series. If you can believe it or not, this is episode 300, a monumental time for us. I'm Chris Hanegi, CEO and founder of Social Engineer LLC, the Innocent Lives Foundation, and the Institute for Social Engineering. And this podcast has been around since 2009. Really proud of this episode. As always, Social Engineer is the sponsor. And I have a couple of things I want to introduce to you. First, have you ever heard of a SERA? A social engineering risk assessment. This is where our team will go out and do deep dive into people in your company. It could be the C-level or somebody who holds the keys to the kingdom. We look at their life and then we develop phishing and vishing attacks that we then launch on them and we report back if we were successful or not. Of course, our goals here are to never shame or humiliate anyone, but we do these kinds of tests to help companies see if some of their employees can create vulnerability. And then what you can do to kind of educate them and get them so they aren't part of that vulnerability. So that service is called the SERA. It's on the social-engineer.com website. You can go check it out. Also there, please check out HubiCon coming back in November. I'm really excited about that. And you can sign up now. Okay, a couple announcements before we get started with our show. As always, if you're interested in the topic of social engineering, then you need to be in our Slack channel. The link is down below, but we have a lot of people in there every day talking about all aspects of SE, a lot of questions and answers. Some people more active than others, and not like me, but a lot of people in there having some great chats. So join us in there if you're interested in family-friendly and legal social engineering conversations. And also, I want to invite everyone to take a moment to go visit InnocentLivesFoundation.org. The nonprofit there has been around for just about 8 years now, almost 8 years, like 7 3/4. And we have done 570 cases. Our mission is to help stop, geolocate, and locate people who are trafficking children and creating child abuse material, even AI-generated child abuse material, which is becoming a very big thing now. We need your help. ILF is supported as a nonprofit by your voluntary donations. So if you want to come over and fund the case, you can find out what that means on the website, or you can come over and give us any amount helps, because it helps to keep us afloat and to keep all the technology we need moving so we can keep helping law enforcement around the globe. And if you like the music on the show, then it's none other than Clutch. As everyone knows, because I said it a million times, Neil helped me start the ILF, and I just love the band, and the music is awesome. So they allow us to use it here on the show. If you like these episodes, give us a thumbs up, a like, a heart, whatever platform you're on. Just give us that, because it helps spread the message, helps us grow the podcast and get out to many more people. Okay, with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about this podcast. This is episode 300. Where did it start? Well, if we go way back in 2009, that's when I launched the social engineering framework. And it was done off of a compilation of just some research that I was doing, and we were using SE at the time, but I had no clue why it was working. I didn't understand. Like, why would these things work? When people that we did it would ask, well, how do I fix it? I didn't have answers. So I started to read all these books you can see behind me if you're on the YouTube. Everything on persuasion, influence, nonverbals, neuroscience, psychology, anything I could that helped me understand how humans make decisions. And I wrote a framework. I did it as a self-project. I mean, I had a couple of people that helped me out at the time in the community. We did some writing. I was putting it into a Word doc, and I thought it was going to be kind of fun, a fun project for us. So when I got done with it, the guy I was working with at the time, he said, you got to put this on the web. It's kind of amazing. So I did. I put it on the web, bought social-engineer.org. This is, I think, 2008. And I put the framework up there. And it got a lot of hits. A lot of people were emailing, asking questions about it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast. And here was the thing at the time, and I know things have changed, but at the time, a lot of InfoSec podcasts were just a bunch of guys sitting around talking about pornography or drinking and smoking and things like that. And if that's what you're into, that's fine. But I wasn't. I knew that my kids were going to listen to everything. So I said, I'm going to make a different podcast. I'm going to make one that is about science. And I'm going to try to get some of these people of the books that I read, some of the people that really helped me and mentored me, people that were in law enforcement, that were actors, musicians, directors, that did nothing about what we do here. And I was going to bring them in and interview them. And we're going to find out what made them so good at their job. And then we would be able to learn from them as part of the podcast. Now, I got to say, some of the things that I really don't like, my original podcasts were so long. The introductions were way too long. I mean, we would spend 20 minutes joking and laughing before you actually got to the interview. And then by the time you got to the interview, sometimes people were bored. Interviews went too long, maybe an hour. or even longer, depending on the guests. And then there was an outro, which I'm not even sure if anyone ever listened to that. So I got to say, those original episodes, oof. Then we changed some of the panel at the time, and I had a panel of people that I really enjoyed being with, but a lot of inside jokes, and it ticked a lot of people off. I get it. Jokes that we understood that maybe the audience didn't. So it kind of alienated some people. So we had to fix that. So eventually, I can't even remember the year that we brought everything in-house, only had people doing the podcast with me here. And this was the Human Element series. I wanted to start a second one. I wanted to start one that was mainly just for CISOs, something that would allow CISOs to have CISOs come on the show, but then to have it be specific towards that job, because those are the people we work with every day. So we know their stress. So Ryan and I started the Security Awareness series, and we brought CISOs on talking about how they got their career and advice they can give to new CISOs or people who've been doing it for a long time. That show was great. It really was awesome. But then we hired Dr. Abby, and she had some amazing ideas about doing a show all about science. So we did. We put on the Doctor is In series. And then Patrick was here, and we needed one more episode, a fourth, because we're doing one every week. So Patrick started the SC Etc. series. Now, sadly, when Patrick moved on, I wasn't able to do the SC Etc. the way Patrick did it. He did a lot of fun. But I have a really good friend, Mike Holfeld, that is an Emmy-winning reporter here in Orlando. And I've done a lot of news articles with him and news pieces with him. And I invited him to be a host, and now we call it the Fourth Monday. So we're covering everything, not just social engineering. We're covering terrorism attacks, the economy, health issues. We're just covering all different topics to reach different audiences. So that's kind of the journey of the podcast and how we got to here, going from one episode a month to now how we are doing 4 episodes a month and all different topics. It's kind of amazing to me. Where do I want it to go in the future? Well, I'd love to see the episodes continue to grow with people coming in wanting to learn more about social engineering and the other topics that we cover, whether it's science or not. And I'd love to see larger audiences take on the podcast and to get some really, really interesting guests like we have for the last 300 episodes. But from there, I just love getting your ideas and your feedback, because a lot of times you guys send in theme ideas, and those are the things that make the show even better, when we can answer your questions or when we can use the themes that you want to hear. So that's where we are now, folks. And I think something else is happening because Amanda's here.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah. So I'm not usually here.
No. Amanda, I don't think you've ever been on an episode.
No, I have not. I am normally in the background, which I am normally very more than happy to be behind the scenes. But today's a special day.
But although your SE 60-second tip got a ton of hits and likes and comments, so you might want to consider coming out of the background a little more. What do you think, folks? Give us a vote. Give us a vote in the comment section. Should Amanda be more front facing? Yes. Say yes.
We'll talk. We'll talk
okay,
about it.
We'll talk. Okay.
We'll talk about it. Yeah. So a few months ago, I came to you and just said, "Hey,
oh no,
we have this 300th episode, and I would love if you just kind of let me take the reins, do some surprises."
Moment of weakness.
And you gave me my favorite reply ever, which was, "Oof."
Yeah.
And I loved that. But after some convincing, you let me take over.
Yeah.
So
I did.
I think this is going to be fun, and you're going to love it. I promise.
I'm sure.
I promise. So I have some questions for you. I thought we would do some trivia.
Okay.
We're going to test Chris's
you know
podcast.
You know how good my memory is.
Yes. We already know it's not good, but that's okay. We're gonna do this. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay. So are you ready? The first question.
I'm ready.
What was the date of the very first podcast? The date that it was released?
I want to say it was in October. In October of 2009. October 1st, 2009.
You are so close.
Really?
October 5th, 2009, the very first podcast.
Wow. Okay. I can't believe I got that close.
Yeah, you were very close. I'm very shocked actually, because I was expecting you to not get it.
I was thinking about when we released the framework, and I kind of remembered that. And then it took a few months for the framework to blow up. And then I went on a bunch of other podcasts. So I didn't really start this until I knew it was later in the year, but that was kind of where I went.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you know what year then we added the second series, which was the security awareness series?
Okay. So Ryan was here. The good old days.
Mm-hmm.
2024 was his 7th year. So that would have been 2017. Probably took some convincing for him. 2018?
2021.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That took a lot of convincing.
2021 was the...
was way off.
It was actually January. We actually released it in January of 2021. That was our first one. And then cool. From there, we did 2022 was Doctor Is In.
Uh-huh.
And then we also released our 4th episode, which has had the most evolution changes.
Very much.
As like SE, etc. Then it was sort of like an in the news, and now we have this amazing podcast with Mike.
Monday. Yeah.
So that one has had the most. Now, here's a question. Can you guess how many guests we have had on the podcast? Now, there's some series that don't have guests.
Yeah.
But also some series that we've had multiple guests on in an episode.
Oh. Boy. Okay, so this is hard because if we're saying October 2009, so let's just go 2010 to 2025 is 15 years times 12 months. I can't do that in my head. Why can't I do that in my head? 15 times 12,
it was more than I expected.
150 plus 20.
And the answer is yes, I did go through every single podcast episode.
Of course you did. So it has to be over 174, because then we had some on Abby's show. We did have a couple that I think Patrick brought in, and we usually have a guest on Ryan's show. Jeez, man. I'm going to say 291.
Less.
275.
248.
Okay, dang.
Yeah.
I figured it had to be over 200.
Yes,
just
over 200.
Just the Human Element series alone was 174.
Yeah. So
248, that's a lot of people.
That is, when I was counting, I was like, okay, I think it's going to be over 100. I know that. Maybe over 150. But then as I was counting and it was getting higher and higher, I was like, okay, we have had a lot of guests. Yeah.
That is crazy.
So I thought it would be great if like we could have like a whole bunch of guests on, but obviously like that's maybe not the most feasible thing. But I did some legwork. Oh, no. And we have a little video to show you.
Okay.
Hey, Chris, it's Mike Holfeld. You see that ladder in the background? I'm getting this back room set for the new location for our podcast, Fourth Monday. Listen, the 300, the big 300. Congratulations, 300 episodes. Fantastic. You know, I told you privately, and I'll tell you on this as well, with the message to everyone listening. Chris is a natural. He's got a great delivery, easygoing, so intelligent and informative. And I think that explains the 300 episodes and 300 and 300 and 300 into the future. I was looking at my notes to figure out when we first met, Chris. You ready for this? March 6, 2015 was our first story together.
Really?
Who could imagine 10 years later we'd be co-hosting a podcast along with the 3 others that you host? I mean, fantastic. But congratulations, man. 300 episodes, and I know there's going to be a lot more to come.
That's cool.
Why, Mr. Hadnaggy, what can I say other than that? I'm not bringing you a turkey, but I'm bringing you a cat.
Of course, Stacey.
To say thank you. Thank you for your amazing podcast, 300. Who'd have thought, hey? So proud of you. I look forward to 301.
Hey, Chris, it's me, Ryan.
Hey.
I heard you were recording your 300th episode. I wanted to send along congratulations. great work. It's a huge accomplishment. Anyway, before I leave, I want to wish you a happy Flag Day. Love you, bro.
Chris, just want to send you some love and congratulations on number 300.
Sean.
That's a very big number. Keep it going. This is what separates us from them is we don't quit. Thank you, brother.
Chris, congratulations on 300 videos. I'm very grateful that I've been able to be a part of a few of them, and I'm looking forward to the next 300. Take care.
Hey, Chris. Just wanted to take the opportunity to congratulate you for getting to the 300th episode of the podcast. This is absolutely amazing and inspiring. Please continue creating and sharing these podcasts. They are so good. I enjoy them thoroughly. Thank you for having me on your show. Thank you for coming to my show. And I hope to see you again real soon. Congratulations.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Dave and Alan.
Dave Alley.
Congratulations on 300 podcasts.
Woo, that's so many.
That is a lot. They've all been amazing. And having met you, I've learned a lot of things from you.
Likewise.
So,
congrats.
You look good, Dave.
Yeah,
you look good,
congrats.
I
man.
love you.
now we're just going to drag this out.
See how long they leave this in.
Yeah. Amanda, you can just edit this whenever you want.
I love that you actually left it.
Well, hello, Chris.
Oh, lean.
First of all, is it any surprise that I'm out on a bike? No. In fact, I've got a great analogy for you. I just finished an amazing ride out to a place called Tortilla Flat. Now, the road to get there is winding. It has curves and twists like a snake. And it rises and falls, but after all that, you see this pristine lake. Then you got one more climb up and down. You drop into Tortilla Flat. And that's kind of like you, my friend. Here you are at the 300th episode, which is amazing. And to get there, you had some winding curves, and initially you only had a few people, well, relatively speaking, listening to you. And now you've got crowds because you, my friend, are iconic. And the work you do is iconic. And people want to get to you and your message. Congratulations, Chris. I love you. I hope you have an incredible time for the next 300. See you, buddy.
He's always nice.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Huge congratulations on the 300th episode of the podcast. It's an incredible milestone, and I have no doubt there will be many more to come. I have loved working with you on The Doctor Is In. You never fail to make me laugh. No matter what mood I'm in when we start recording, within minutes, I'm laughing and smiling again and ready to go. Your vulnerability, stories, and humor makes every session so much fun, and I'm really grateful to be a part of it. Here's to many more episodes.
Hey, Chris, Erin here, your favorite director of wellness. I just wanted to pop in to wish you a huge congratulations on your 300th episode of your Social Engineer podcast. That is quite a feat, and we are all so proud of you here over at your Innocent Lives Foundation family, as we hope you are proud of yourself. Your podcast is truly enjoyable. I know when I was on it, it was so easy to have a conversation with you, and you're such a great mentor for people in this field. So I hope you continue to do this podcast with success as you have. And again, congratulations. We're really proud.
Hey, Chris, Nick Hutchison here. I was guest number 238.
Yeah.
Congratulations on episode number 300. You are making an amazing impact on this world. I had such a great experience working with you, and I know you're going to drive this podcast so many more episodes into the future. Congrats on everything.
Oh,
Chris.
Alex
Price here, a.k.a. Skip Guru. 300 episodes. What an incredible achievement, my friend. I want you to know one thing for certain. You certainly have made me better for knowing you. I hope you celebrate the occasion with some pineapple pizza.
Alex.
Chris, congratulations on this huge accomplishment. 300 episodes is an amazing milestone to reach. And since you know that I am all about the details, I'm here to give you a fact. Out of 300 episodes, you and I have worked together on 178 of them. And I personally think that those 178 were some of the best episodes.
Yeah, 100%.
Congratulations from me and everyone here at SECom. We appreciate all of the work that you do, and I can't wait to work with you on many, many more.
300 podcasts. 300.
So many.
300 podcasts.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Congrats.
I love that you brought them back in. Oh, that was a great surprise.
They sent me 2 videos and he said, you can use which one you want. And I was like, I'm using both.
Yeah.
I'm using both.
Oh, wow. You got some unbelievable people lined up.
At first I was like, I hope I have enough. And then I was like, I think I have too many. Like I skimmed some of them down just a little bit. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry, Wayne. I skimmed theirs down just a tad bit to keep it reasonable. But so many people were so excited to reach out to you and just
that's cool.
Share the love and a message. I actually had one more, but he didn't get it in time. So I thought we could just bring him on instead.
Oh, okay.
So Justin.
What? Neil.
Hi.
What's up, bro?
I was nervous.
What's going on?
I almost hung up and restarted. I'm glad I didn't.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Congratulations on number, was it 300?
Yeah.
That's a lot of talking, man.
It's a lot of talking.
How are you?
But come on, that's what you do for a living. So what are you working on? Album number 17, right?
So I guess it really depends how you count it, but I stopped counting. I know that sounds about right.
Yeah, at least that's what the reports are saying.
Yeah, I'm actually at the Doom Saloon right now. That's why I'm sitting in my car because it's really loud in there.
Yeah,
so this is a welcome respite.
Yeah, man, this is cool. I haven't seen you in a while, bud.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
sometime last year, House of Blues.
The last show. Yeah, the last show, which I'm coming in June, by the way. For sure. I've been trying to drag as many people as I can.
You are a one-man marketing team. I thank you for that.
I am. Yeah. Hey, every class we have, people leave fans of Clutch.
Well,
every
you got them a captive audience, so you might as well pound it into their brain.
Man, it's like brainwashing. I just apply all the principles.
So I have a question for you guys. Actually, don't know how this relationship started. So how Chris went from being your biggest fan to you two actually having a relationship. Because let me tell you, when I emailed Neil, he responded pretty quickly and said, "Yep, count me in." So I'm
you want to tell the story, Neil?
This happened.
Do you remember?
My memory is awful, but let me do my best and jump in and correct me when I will inevitably be wrong or gloss over the truth. It started with the podcast.
Yeah. You came on Twitter and your first tweet was, "Knock, knock, is this thing on?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sounds so long ago. Twitter.
Yeah.
And then, was that how you reached out to me? Was through Twitter?
I did. And I asked you to come on the podcast and your answer was, what the heck am I going to do on a hacker podcast?
Yeah. I'm still trying to sort through that.
Yeah.
But it was great. It's always nice to do interviews or things like this that are outside just the fishbowl of rock and roll. Because you get this kind of the same questions and expect the same responses. And I'm not saying that it's digging ditches, but it can be, not the most engaging thing in the world. So when you have someone coming from a different angle, like yourself, it's a little more stimulating.
Well, do you remember then what happened is you said, "Let me think about it." Kind of like I'll call you, don't call me. And I was like, darn it. And then, it was 2 weeks later, maybe a month later, you DM'd me and you said, "Hey, can I call you?"
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I was like, "Heck yes, you can call me. Like, here's my phone number. Here's my address. Here's my everything. Here's my Twitter account and my passwords." And then you called and you said, Earth Rocker got hacked.
Yeah.
And someone posted it online and you wanted to know if I can help you find out who it was.
In exchange to do with doing the interview. It was very, very transactional relationship right out of the gate.
It was. Yeah. It was like, yeah, I could do that. And then, and I said, and throw in, I want to come to a show and meet you. If you remember, right?
Yeah. I remember actually where we were, when I called you. We were in, Sauget, Illinois, which is like, just on the other side of the river from St. Louis. And yeah, and it was you not only found out pretty much how it happened, you found out who, and they had that ridiculous manifesto.
Yeah.
With some kind of like everything should be free type thing.
He worked at a CD printing shop in Germany, if I remember, and he was just taking CDs and shoving them down his pants and bringing them home and ripping them and putting them online.
Yeah. And it's not like he was doing it for money. It was just probably just like the bragging rights of whatever small community of people he hangs out with.
Yeah. So I gave you all that, and then you were like, "Yep, okay, we'll do the show." If you remember, that was a pivotal show because you came on and you talked about this shirt that you wore during your best show ever, and you took it and you put it in a plastic bag, and even though it was nasty, you would smell that shirt every time you wanted to get amped up.
Well, it was yes and no. I didn't put it in a bag like some kind of some kind of potpourri thing.
Okay.
It was that I usually wear the same like 2 or 3 shirts because inevitably you sweat a lot on stage. It's 90 minutes, and even after a point of washing the shirt, it doesn't take that much humidity to kind of activate the stank. But that smell, I don't know, it's like muscle memory. And I think that's what we talked about is the, what's the fancy word for smell?
It was the olfactory senses.
Yes. Thank you.
That's what we talked about. We pulled up the science about it, and it was just a really phenomenal show. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I'm sure it's the same with anybody, like memories of, things, smell, scent association run real deep. Like maybe you pass by some woman who's wearing the cologne that your aunt who's been dead for 40 years wore, and you smell it, and it's almost like deja vu, and you get almost dizzy with the recollections being dragged out of the center of your head. But we talked about that, and then I think we met up. It had to be shortly thereafter.
It was Allentown. You were playing in No, it wasn't Allentown. It was Philly, I think. I think it was the Croc Rock or somewhere there.
Trocadero?
Trocadero, that's where it was. And I remember it clearly because it was my first time my wife let me bring my son to a show. And I said to him, "Okay, Colin, if we get backstage and there's like hookers and blow, we're just going to like shake hands and we're going to leave." Right? That's it. Just going to go meet Neil, shake hands and leave. And I get back there and JP's reading a Wall Street Journal, like you're like sitting there talking about philosophy or something. I'm like, this is not what I expected.
No, there's I guess some of the reputation of rock and roll is well deserved, but the fact of the matter is that's where I don't think we're atypical. I think that's the case with most bands, at least the guys that have gray in their beards. It might have been a different energy in like 1994 when we're basically still children. But it's there's a lot of disappointment when people who like finally get backstage, they get to pull back the curtain and see the secret of what's going on, and it is invariably boring.
And then if you remember, we exchanged numbers. So every time you came around, I texted. And then the next time I came, if you remember, I brought the case of doom.
Yes. How could I forget?
The case of doom, Amanda, which was a case that carried about 4 or 5 bottles of whiskey and 5 or 6 Glencairn glasses.
I actually knew the case of doom. I'm pretty sure that I've moved it around your office a few times.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Back in the day. Yeah. Then it became a tradition.
Yeah. It's, I think you managed to turn a lot of people onto the single malt, because I was the outlier for many years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Just can't have it on the rider.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bad scene.
And then we were chatting about ILF. That was 8 years ago.
Wild.
You know, 8 years ago that we actually met in that dank conference room in.
Was that in Virginia?
Grantville? No, I think it was Grantville or no, not Grantville. Right before you enter Virginia in Pennsylvania.
Well, it wouldn't have been Pennsylvania to Virginia.
Okay, so maybe it was right over the.
Oh, if it was in Pennsylvania, yeah, maybe like York or Hanover or something like that.
Yeah, and we sat there talking about this, and bam! Next thing you know, I remember you when I called you. You were sitting. I can still remember this because it's a great story. I called you and you were sitting in a parking lot waiting for Angela to come out for grocery shopping, and you're like, "Can you ever just call me with a normal request?"
Yeah.
And he said, "I got to talk to my wife about this." You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Amanda, that's how it's happened, and it's been wow. When did Earth Rocker come out?
2013.
So it's been.
He was on September 9th, 2013. It was episode 49.
Wow.
So 2013. So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been 12 years.
Yeah. It's, one of those things. It seems like yesterday, but also, it seems like a million years ago at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, there was that was an odd, introduction to the hacking thing as it affected us, just kind of serendipitously, so to speak.
Yeah.
So thanks for helping us out. I mean, nothing really.
Yeah.
It's more like curiosity. Want to know how did this happen? There was nothing we could do about it, but yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, but
it's not like what we're going to do through the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. That never works out well.
They got the hell of a legal team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been I kind of had to remember all those points.
You got better memory than I.
Yeah, for certain things.
Yeah. I'll remember things, randomly without trying to, but when it's on demand, it never seems to work.
Yeah.
But,
and then along the way, you introduced me to Dave and Allie.
Yep.
Which was also a life-changing event.
They're great.
I met them at the Earth Rocker show down you do on the farm.
Oh yeah.
Right. He was flying that drone everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Who's this guy flying the drone?" You're like, "Oh, you got to meet this guy, Dave and Allie." And we stood there for hours talking.
Yeah.
I mean, now they still work with us. They're our production team for this podcast.
That's great. Well,
yeah.
Hi, Dave and Allie, when you watch this and post. Yeah, they're great. They've done a number of our videos. And with us, we're not like the band that really loves the attention of the camera. And half the battle's personality. And I think they understand us. You have to you have 4 grown men, but you got to treat them as like kind of one psychological entity. And it takes a very skilled person to be able to do that with this group of old farts.
Yeah. Yeah. I still remember that Willie Nelson video when I watched you shave your beard. I almost cried. It was a sad moment.
Oh, well, yeah, it was also instant, buyer's remorse. As soon as I did, I was like, oh, that's why I grew it. It hides the truth.
It's also just your iconic, your symbol.
Yeah.
It's like everyone knows the Neil Fallon beard.
I didn't know it was going to be such a thing. It was just a byproduct of laziness. And
do you know there's a Facebook account called Neil Fallon's Beard?
Yeah. There was once when I had a Twitter account, one of the first things that happened that kind of made me raise my eyebrows. I got one of those little alerts that said, "You are now being followed by Neil Fallon's beard." Wow, that's pretty existential, man. Let me think about this.
And I swear it's not me. I swear it's not.
I mean, it's weird. It's flattering, but it's
it is. I was wanting to know who it was because I'm like, that's epic. that existed before you had a Twitter account.
Yeah, it was waiting for me.
Yeah, your beer's been waiting for you on the internet.
Yeah. How's things in your world?
Yeah, man, things are going good. We're busy. It's
you're a hard man to pin down.
Germany. Yeah,
hats off to Amanda.
I know. I know. This last couple of months has been really busy, but I was just in Germany. I did a tribunal. Right. I was asked to be an expert witness for against social media. That was really powerful there.
What was that like? Was an actual court proceeding, or was it a government hearing, or?
It wasn't government. It was what they call as a tribunal. So they had 3 judges there from around the globe. They had actual prosecutor and defense, plaintiff and defense. So it was a trial, but it wasn't something that can actually lead to action. What they do is they make documentaries out of these, and then they try to get companies like this to, like social media companies, to take notice because it will be quite damning for them.
Ooh.
I mean, we had 2 parents there that lost their children to suicide because of being groomed and sextorted on Facebook. Right. So
God.
It was, so it's like, and they know it, they know it. There was a group of researchers there that had data driven proof about, Facebook being complicit in the genocide of the Rohingya people in Malaysia. They were actually muting the people who were activists for the Rohingya people and adding volume to the post about, committing genocide on those people.
Do we know if that was by the request of the Chinese government, or they just did that as ahead of time?
That's the one thing we don't know. You would need to get a warrant and get access to that data to know why they did it. But what we see is that the reason a lot of these things are left online, I had a number of cases I brought up about assaults that were live streamed and it takes them days or weeks to take them down, is because their algorithms say that as long as there's traffic coming in, we make money.
Yeah.
We make marketing money.
Engagement above everything else.
Yes. Engagement above safety, people's lives, whatever it is, engagement.
Not that this compares to genocide or, any of the stories that these parents share, but just from my own experience, every once in a while, I don't have a Facebook page. So I'm blissfully clueless about it. But I'll get people mentioning, say, hey, do you know about this page? It says it's you. And it's like playing whack-a-mole. It's my face. It says it's Neil Fallon.
Yep.
I think anyone with, enough brain cells to rub together can tell it's not me. And, Tim has reached out to Facebook and they basically said, well, they don't violate our terms of service.
Yeah.
It says it's you, but they're not doing anything illegal.
Yeah.
The thing is, and there's people out there who, I guess that one of them was having accepted money for clutch merchandise. And this young lady's furious at me because she really thinks it was me. And, it doesn't take much of a leap to see how things can go very south very quickly for people that are in the blast radius of this nonsense.
It's 100% true. And I've worked a number of those cases where Facebook says the same thing. Well, they're not violating our terms. They're selling fake equipment. They're taking money for fraud. How is that not violating your terms of service? Right? I don't get it.
Yeah. And it's like, it's whack-a-mole too. It's like once you get one of them, 2 more pop up. And I'd be surprised if they're even actively doing. I wonder how much of it is just automated.
Yeah, I imagine nowadays there's probably bots that are made to do these things.
Yeah. I mean, my band has enjoyed some success, but you're not talking to Bruce Springsteen over here. It's like kind of like an obscure person to decide to impersonate.
Man, you're too humble. I'm going to send you the articles that come out about you guys. You guys you've been voted as one of the top bands that have been around for as many years as you have been.
It's like the guy who comes in first at the marathon because he's the only person in the 90-year-old and over category.
Not at all. No, there's one article I was just reading about you guys that came up on a feed. It was like they're talking about your genre changes. How, like, you started off hard rock and you became like bluesy and jazz, and then you earth rocker was a little heavier, and you just have like so many different sounds. It's like there's never a Clutch album that is the same. They're all different.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, it's always, I think, a common thing with artists. Like, you want to try something new, but you also got to go with your strengths, and to thread the needle can be difficult. But we're in the process of writing our next record right now. The last batch of songs we did last year, we weren't really over the moon about. And that was just because maybe our collective creative headspace wasn't firing as it should, because we were exhausted from doing so much touring. And we're much more productive nowadays.
Well, if you need someone to come down and play like a cowbell or something, I'm available. All
right. You can come to our nondescript, shady industrial park in the sticks of Frederick County.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been to the Doom Saloon.
Yeah. It's fun. I mean, we spend a lot of time here. It's mostly John Paul because he lives down the street, but we keep all our stock of albums and CDs and all our gear. Mm-hmm. It's sort of our base of operations.
Well, during COVID, you guys did some really great shows during COVID there. And when Dave and Allie came in and set up those cameras, it was really high quality. It was good stuff.
They definitely upped our game. The first one was just my laptop's camera. And that was it.
I remember that. It was still great.
I don't know how it is.
Live music, that was hard back then, not going to shows. And I'm sure for you guys, it was even harder. That was your living.
Yeah. There was definitely some dark nights of the soul, and it wasn't just us, I'm not trying to sing a sob story. But I guess just mentally having something to prepare for, to have a goal, to practice for something, to plan for something.
Yeah.
That was really good for the brain and the heart. Because otherwise if you're sitting on your hands, the mind does not default to healthy places. The worry and the anxiety take over. So it was good for us. So, the first one that we did tickets for, there was 7,000 tickets sold.
Wow.
It blew my mind. And I think we owe all those fans a great, thank you. And, a lot of gratitude for, choosing to hang out with us.
Well, I think you were doing something unique too, which made people kind of endeared to you. Like when you were selling swag, you would give, I think you would say, I thought maybe it was half of it or all of it went to your road team because they didn't have a living at that time. And that was unique. People weren't doing that kind of stuff. That was really kind. So I think everyone was kind of like just wanted to buy stuff because you were like, oh man, I love Al. I want him to stay alive. Here's some money, right?
Yeah. The thing, we heard a lot of that. It's like that actually, we probably sold more t-shirts because of that.
Yeah.
Because people just like the goodwill aspect of it. Those guys are like brothers to us. I mean, I can't imagine going on tour with anyone else. At this point, we've become so reliant on it to get the four of us to actually set up our own gear and do it right is embarrassingly slow. It's really bad.
Yeah, but I do think you would have definitely sold more with that because I think all the fans, even in the chats, were like, this is awesome. Everyone was just very enthused that you were caring enough about those guys.
No, for sure.
To actually take care of them.
Yep. And they're still with us. They haven't learned their lesson.
Yeah. Yep. No, they love you. Plus, what a cool job. You get to drive around, fly around, help you guys set up, listen to Clutch every night. I take that job.
It's a tough job, man. Any road guys, it really is tough. I mean, they're the first ones in. You're lucky to get a shower in the morning.
Yeah.
If the bathroom has even been cleaned from the night before. Sometimes you don't even want to sit anywhere near it. Then you load in your gear. You try to eat. You do sound check. Maybe you have a couple hours to take a nap. The show goes on. They're finishing loading out at, 1:00 in the morning and wash and repeat, just 10 hours later. And it's physically demanding. And especially if you put a bunch of guys in a box, like a tour bus, it can be like a bit of a, what's that? Stanford prison experiment.
Yeah.
It could be a bit like that.
We should, you know what? You can make some extra money by live streaming inside the tour bus,
No. Terrible idea.
Hey man, there's a live stream for everything out there.
Yeah, I know. The older I get, the more grateful I am that none of this technology existed when I was, 14.
I'm with you.
We're very fortunate.
I am so with you.
Nicholas is real savvy and smart. And I kind of think when he went to that DEF CON, it kind of like left an impression, maybe a vague impression, but he was aware that this was not just his mom and dad being annoying. And kids, we hear these horror stories, but also kids are way more savvy at this than I ever realized. And I know I'm not catching up. That train has left the station. I'll just have to friendly reminder that, the internet is forever. And I'm so glad it didn't exist in 1988.
Me too, man. Me too. I would have been in so much trouble, more trouble than I've actually got in. Yeah.
There's something.
Kids are born with iPads now.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about, being bored is a good thing. Like those summers when you were kind of almost ready for school to start because you were bored out of your mind. Yeah. That's a good exercise for the brain, I think. And I sometimes wonder if kids are missing out on being bored at this point.
I mean, you remember like toys for us were like a box and a wiffle ball bat.
Oh yeah.
Like that was toys, I mean.
You're going to be 2x4 and a nail gun.
Yeah. and a BMX bike. You made a ramp and you hurt yourself almost every day,
Yeah. It's, I do, I think the kids are like, they're wired to do that stuff. And sometimes I think the parents are the ones that are being too much of the gatekeepers.
100%.
You have to, of course you don't want your kid to get hurt, but sometimes it's okay for them to get the panic of being lost on their bike. And they know if they don't turn it around, they're going to be in trouble. That kind of environment's good for development into an adult, I think.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, my parents they were like, you came in bleeding. They were like, okay, go clean yourself up.
Don't get it on the carpet.
That was it. Yeah, that's it. Don't be bleeding on the carpet. Clean that,
I was riding my skateboard down a hill and across the street. My friends were supposed to tell me whether or not there was a car coming.
Oh, no.
And these geniuses said it was clear and knowing it wasn't. And I came screaming down. I saw the car. It was my father.
Oh, no.
And then I launched off of this ramp at the bottom and then proceeded to land on my wrist, shattering it. And immediately it turned into like a cantaloupe. He got out of his car from his afternoon commute from Washington, D.C., and looked at me and shook his head. And he said, I'm not taking you to the hospital. You're going to walk if you have to. And that was it. Now, granted, he did take me to the hospital, but that was the initial reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. That story wouldn't exist today.
No. It's
parents would be hiring a helivac to get their kids there.
Yeah, I'd figure out who to sue.
Right, yeah. Sue the state for having that hill there.
Yeah. Too much gravity options.
Yeah. So true. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been fun. I was just thinking to myself, we didn't have you on after your last album came out. I usually have you on when an album comes out to talk about it. We didn't do that. I don't know why.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
If all goes as planned, we'll record this one the beginning of next year, maybe January, February of 26, which would have it come out in late spring, early summer.
Nice.
Like about a year, maybe just over a year from now.
Nice.
Our plan is to record with Machine. He did Earth Rocker and Blast Tyrant.
Oh, yeah.
And Psychic Warfare. We'll probably do it here at the Doom Saloon, which is nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, get to go home every day.
Yeah, that is kind of nice. Everyone gets to go home. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Always need new music. Always need new clutch.
Yeah, it's I genuinely love playing our music, but it's always nice to have something, some stock rotation, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like one or two songs in there besides Clutch,
Variety is the spice of life, Chris.
It is actually. It is. I know that, I've been getting into a lot more blues lately.
Yeah, I was supposed to send you a playlist. I never did. I apologize.
It's okay. No, I made one up. I'll send it to you. It's, but yeah, I've been getting into some, I want to go visit New Orleans. I want to go to like a blues club down there and just hang out.
You know what you need to do if you ever have the opportunity is go to Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Okay. I'm writing this down. Clarksdale, Mississippi.
It's off the beaten path. You are definitely in, blues country.
Oh, really?
That's where supposedly Robert Johnson sold his soul at the Crossroads and a bunch of other guys came. It was, I think, with a big thing. There was a train station in Clarksdale that a lot of people left for the northern migration to Chicago. So, Clarksdale is sort of like this mecca for blues aficionados. And there's juke joints down there. Everyone's just playing on the street. It's like a really, really, really small version of Bourbon Street, but not nearly as packed with uglies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Great food. I know Morgan Freeman has a juke joint down there. Someone else too. Yeah. I highly recommend it.
What's the best one that you've been to down there?
The juke joint?
Yeah.
The name escapes me. I can text it to you.
Yeah. Yeah. When you think of it, I was just talking to a couple of friends here about doing a trip and we were saying New Orleans, but if Better Blues is there.
Well, you could do both.
Yeah, I'd rather do that.
Depending where you're coming from. I mean, you could, if you're coming from Florida, if you're actually driving, you would hit, Mississippi first, and you could then go to New Orleans or vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been doing a few jazz clubs around here and blues clubs. So it's kind of nice, but the scene here is not as developed. There's a lot more Latin music here.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Well, Neil, thank you so much for working with me on getting on here. I know we had to change the schedule quite a few times, all due to Chris.
Hey,
I appreciate all of your patience with rescheduling and for coming on.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. This was a really good surprise. So, hey, Amanda, seriously though, thanks. This was a cool surprise. The video you put together, it had me worried when you said, "Let me do it without you knowing anything." That's a lot of trust, but you're employee number one. So.
It was a lot of trust, and I appreciate all of the trust that you put in me. And I want to thank everybody who was helping me behind the scenes. There was a lot of work put into that video. My team helped me put that video together, and to everybody who let me nag them so much about getting the videos to me. I just want to thank everybody who was a part of it.
Well, this was good. 300 episodes, nothing small. I've been doing this since 2009, so pretty crazy.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, everyone, hopefully you enjoyed it. I did. And next month we'll be with a thought leader and Dr. Jose Mori.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then join us next month and we'll have that wonderful episode. Until then, stay safe. See you.